The Big 12 has decided to step up, and they are trying to take advantage of a weak Pac-12. Reportedly today, the Big 12 was meeting in some capacity, whether it be like via Zoom, circa 2020, or actually in person, with Utah, Arizona, Arizona State, and Colorado. So Utah, Arizona, Arizona State, and Colorado reportedly meeting with the Big 12 today, and apparently Oregon and Washington want to be in on those conversations as well. Now, that tells you a couple of things. One, Oregon and Washington is not exactly confident that they will be offered a chance to join the Big Ten. As you know, they're waiting on Notre Dame. Notre Dame hasn't made a decision yet. The Big Ten may not want them. Apparently, they want Stanford because of academic prowess, or maybe they'll explore the East Coast and get Virginia Tech or Virginia, which seem like natural fits to the Big Ten geographically, on top of being pretty good football brands. At least Virginia Tech, anyway, has had some success, and they've got a cool environment, whatever. The Big 12 surviving here. I mean, if they're able to pull this off.
Thriving.
I mean, will they be the Big Ten? No. Will they sign $1 billion TV deal?
They can be number 3.
They can be number 3 if they're able to pull this off. Kudos to them. They were dead in the water last year. Now, they panicked and got Houston and UCF. Cincinnati's a good get. BYU's
but those
a good
aren't
get, I suppose.
terrible brands, and they're big markets. Houston's a huge market. Yeah. Central Florida, the area is a lot of people there. BYU, I mean, there are a lot of Mormons. That's a good national, brand as far as college football goes. And then Cincinnati, they're the hot team right now in Group of 5. So those aren't terrible. It's not like they went out and added,
James Madison,
William
no offense,
Mary
Kelso.
or something. I was not going to see. Kelso, I want you to know that James Madison popped into my head, but I did not go there because of respect for you, unlike Michael Borky. I just want to point that out here live on this show. I said William and Mary. So those aren't terrible additions. And now you're going to go get the best of what's left in the Pac-12. This is a conference that spans from they're going to be like the Big Ten. They're going to go from Atlantic to Pacific. These are great matchups, in my opinion. The Arizona schools are a great fit. Colorado was in the Big 12 at one point, and Utah's a natural fit as well. Then you get Washington and Oregon. You talk about the best of what's left. I saw an interesting comment today about should Cal and Stanford just say the hell with it and go join the Ivy League?
If they get left out of this, yeah.
Just say, you know what? We're going to the Ivy League, full academic, and we'll dominate those sports there. Imagine Stanford baseball in the Ivy League.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, my gosh, man. They'd go undefeated every year.
So good for them. I mean, that's truly adding value. And I saw somebody say, well, why would Utah jump a boat that appears to be sinking? Said, well, think about it this way. There are 2 boats in the ocean. They're both taking on water. But one is clearly taking on more water than the other. Wouldn't you get on the other one before the lifeboat came? So even if you think the Big 12's model isn't sustainable long term, it's a better, more attractive option in the short term. So why would you not consider that if you're Utah? And it makes sense geographically, and you can kind of save yourself. So kudos to the Big 12. That's the big news of the day, is the Big 12 is trying to poach what is left. Now, if you look at Washington State, Oregon State, Cal, forgive my language, they're kind of screwed. I mean, that's what they are in this scenario.
Stanford and Cal aren't terrible brands. And Purdue give you, if you do care about academics, obviously they give you a lot. Are you surprised that the Big 12 isn't saying, why don't we just absorb the Pac-12 and take what's left and form a super conference and go ahead and get 24 in there and be done with it?
But at what point does having so many teams dilute what you're going to get from a television network, which is going to be clearly less than the other 2 big leagues in the country? Mm-hmm. That's
Speaking of TV networks,
the balance that they've got to go through.
Speaking of TV networks, the news that broke today that the Pac-12 is going to try to renegotiate their media rights now. When we don't know next year who's going to be in the Pac-12, they're going to try to renegotiate.
Nobody's taking that phone call.
let me see exactly what the wording was here, if I can find it, because the wording of it, I was able to get a funny tweet off. But basically,
here it is. The Pac-12 Board of Directors met this morning and authorized the conference to immediately begin negotiations for its next media rights agreement.
Yeah. So, our friend Barrett Salih said, it will immediately pursue a new media rights deal. And I said, I will immediately pursue a relationship with Jennifer Aniston. I got to be honest with you, Borky. I think I got a better shot than the Pac-12 of getting anything worthwhile. Your tweet was also funny about Flow Sports. Yeah. They could end up on Flow Sports.
If you forgot from 2 years ago, the baseball tournament in Houston where Ole Miss and State played, and all of you bought for $10 a month Flow Sports or whatever it was, if you forgot to cancel that, you might get Pac-12 football moving forward. But, I mean, and I saw people say, oh, well, that's just them trying to keep their members there. Oregon's not stupid. Especially now with Phil Knight being involved in this. I mean, when they call ESPN to shop their deal, the only question ESPN is going to ask is, who am I buying? And when you can't answer, end of conversation. It's over. End of conversation. To the text line 6
You're not going to get more. You're not going to get more than USC and UCLA just got going to the Big Ten.
Yeah, no.
You're just not. I mean, you're not gonna be able to. You may not improve what you have.
Question on the text line: chances the Big Ten SEC become a league of their own outside of the NCAA? I think I'm changing my mind on this. I used to think it was going to be just two. I think if the Big 12 is able to pull this off, they will survive. I think they will survive. Now, the difference is, though, it's going to be Kevin Warren and Greg Sankey calling all of the shots. All of the shots are going to be called by those two. They'll dictate what the playoff model is. They'll dictate everything because they can. But I am no longer thinking that it's going to be just two and everybody else is left for dead. I think that the Big 12, if they pull this off, and even the ACC, if they don't get poached like crazy, will have enough there to maintain some level of, like, they won't be sitting at the grown-ups table on Thanksgiving, but they'll be in the room, or they'll be in the next room over eating the same meal. It'll just be smaller and on plastic plates instead of fine china. But I no longer think that it's going to be just two. I just think the two are going to tell everybody else how it's going to go down. But I don't think they're going to exclude everybody else anymore. And that's subject to change, too. It's all completely up in the air.
It's going to be like the United Nations. You know, you have the Americans, you have the Russians. And then, you know, we'll listen. We're listening to you, but we're the ones making the rules around here. Yeah.
Bradley and Marietta saying that, in response to us saying that it's never going to happen, teams getting kicked out of the SEC, said never say never. 3 years ago, find me 2 out of 5 that would have said 2 Mississippi teams would win the World Series 2 years in a row. A little bit different. There are bylaws that are preventing Vanderbilt, Ole Miss, Mississippi State from getting kicked out of the league, and there were no bylaws preventing the baseball teams winning championships. It was mostly like, you know, getting a pitcher or the right hit at the right time. There was nothing in legal documents that said this really can't happen the way it is for conference expansion.